So I want to say that the TEC Expo, Technology Enhanced Classroom Expo, has been a very popular event for a number of years now, and I'm very pleased that the focus of this year is equity, diversity, and inclusion. And I feel honored as the Associate Dean of Equity Programs, I feel honored to be here and make these welcome remarks. So the TEC Expo event showcases and celebrates innovative uses of technology in teaching and learning, and it is great to see the tremendous interest that we have from across the campus. And so with this focus on equity, diversity, and inclusion, and having representations from across the campus, this makes it a very, very significant event for the faculty as well as UBC. And we have an impressive and stimulating lineup of projects and presentations here in the foyer. And I would also encourage you to go online because this is a 4-day event, right? It's a 4-day event, and so we've got a number of also virtual events that you can check out and participate in. So I'm excited to see the range of projects that we have here today. It's ranging from universal design and story making, ways of inclusive learning for students with visual impairments, integrating principles of Indigenous pedagogies in online learning. And of course, we have right here the Emerging Media Lab, which is a cool new technologies coming up. So it's very exciting. I'm very energized. And this is technology. It's part of my research and teaching. So I'm even more excited to be here. But technology has afforded us amazing and innovative advancement in teaching and learning in the last decade, and of course with COVID in the past 2 years, we have seen a dramatic change in what we see as learning spaces. I was in an online conference yesterday, and that was supposed to be in Abu Dhabi. So I know there have been online conferences before, but after COVID, now we see that we can partake in them more readily. And so with all this, our understanding of what learning spaces are online is changing dramatically. And so technology enhanced classroom, the title of this expo, is so appropriate and so well connected. So because our understanding of digital technology as well as digital technologies is constantly changing. I want to also say a little bit about ETS, which is Educational Technology Support, and what we do in the faculty. So we hear the Faculty of Education because we might not be Faculty of Education, is to know that they were involved in design and implementation of innovative teaching practices and initiatives in the faculty. And it is impressive and significant that this year the entire focus is on equity, diversity, and inclusion. They've got a number of events lined up, so I encourage you to go to the ETS website and check those out. So I want to recognize and elevate the work that ETS does in the faculty and the organizers of the TEC Expo. And again, a warm welcome to you all for the session of TEC Expo. And I want to thank you all for your contributions. Thank Natasha and her team for organizing this. Thank the leadership of the ETS for putting this together. And so welcome, and I'll hand it back to Natasha.
So just a few notes about TEC Expo. As Reg said, it goes on for 4 days. So if you're interested in virtual events as well, they are at the same time from noon to 1:30. And you have plenty of opportunities to see where to go. And on our website, our table is here at the front. You can pick the brochure, you can pick any information you need. Also, our members that are not to the table, you can see their names, they have name tags, so feel free to approach them as well if you have any questions. So it's a free event. We'll be wrapping up at 1:30. Enjoy. If you have the opportunity, I would really encourage you to visit each other's booth as well and see what everyone is doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, in terms of the logistics of this, is this just
me pushing it around, or will there be somebody pushing it?
Let's make Aryan help you with that. So he can move the card.
He can be the card guy.
Yeah, you need a card guy.
We do need you.
No.
Yeah, have they left or?
Yeah, they left for a while. Yeah, but everything is set up. So we're fine. We set up this. Okay. All right. So Gabby's gonna go around the space and interview all the presenters. And you help her move the part. Okay? Okay.
So, it's just a straight live stream. I'm not pausing that in between.
No, I think that's just the lower.
Where do you want to start?
No?
Yeah, no, where?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Mhm.
All right, start here. And I'll do it. Here they are. Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to TEC Expo 2022. My name is Gabrielle Coombs and I am a learning designer with ETS at the UBC's Faculty of Education. And today at our 8th annual TEC Expo, I'm going to be interviewing some of our presenters today. So we might get started over here with Dr. Leah Macfadyen and Loveleen Reen. I can see. Yes, of course. All right, let's have a look over here. All right, so we're going to, hi. So I'm Gabrielle. We have the lovely Masaru Yamamoto and Julie Lin here, and they are doing work with Dr. Nasrin Kowkabi. Could you talk to us a little bit about this project?
Sure. Like our project is about like we hope to provide international students a little bit more support for the content that is lack of during the during orientation. So like we covered a lot. We gather our content and content like based on we have consultation with some international students and to see like what do they think is needed, and it's like usually being kind of like ignored during like normal orientation. So like our module, online orientation module, covers from navigation like UBC campus to like how to write an email, and like when is the timing for writing an email, and to like how to prepare before class and how to write homework to like support international students' academic success in the new context, like whole new learning context.
Wow, okay, fantastic. And I can see you guys are using Canvas for this. Can
Yeah.
you go into a little bit of detail about
Yeah, sure.
what you've done on Canvas?
Yeah, so just to clear out, so basically this is, even though this Tech Expo is called Technology as the Classroom, what we actually do technology as the classroom-ish, in a sense that we are helping not the classroom per se probably, but something that's happening around. For example, how to write emails, how to take notes and so forth. And so if you can just go into, can you do that? Great. So, yeah, so I think, which one do we want to, maybe writing emails? So research often shows is that, so email writing is actually not a familiar genre to the international students because it has a very interesting features, but sometimes they do have to make it sound formal, respectful, and yet instructions in that area is very lacking or sometimes taken for granted. So what we have actually done is to, can they look at it? Yeah, is to first because students socialized into this kind of new mode of learning explicitly in the university context. We do provide first template and maybe some framework for them to in a way that best suits their purposes and so forth. And so we first and then break separate parts in um break into several parts and yeah, guide instructions for that. Yeah.
It's fantastic. Yeah. Sorry, Julie. Continue.
And also like we also embed a lot of like multimodal resources to keep the student like paying attention to the topic they would like to learn. And also we embed a lot of like interactive activities for students. They can like try to navigate by themselves and also to check their comprehension of the context. Yeah. So like for example, there is a interactive activity, and then like after students learn something from the context, they can like try to like check their comprehension
Yeah,
by
it is basically error detection task.
yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, so I can see here that it looks like you've made the activity using H5P, which we at ETS is super familiar with. Can you talk a little bit more about some of these interactive objects? I can understand that, especially for international students, having this kind of error detection must be really useful, right? Yeah.
So like for example for this one, it's like detect errors. So like this is a like template for like error emails, and then we try to ask the students to like detect which part is not correct in the formal email. So for example, like the email is starting from "Hey professor." So if they think this sentence is incorrect, they will click on it, and then like below here will show like why is it like incorrect, and also provide some like advice for them to like how to write a formal email. So they can like they can like test themselves, but also get some like suggestions or good advice for helping them to form a formal email.
This seems like a really great way to make international students feel more confident. Have you tested this out yet, or has it gone live?
Basically, this is just a pilot project, as our title probably suggests. And so we are actually seeking feedback to how we can best improve this our module and implement it in the future within the Faculty of Education. Actually, we are collaborating with Dr. Reginald De Silva, yeah, who just gave the opening remarks. So yeah, we're actually looking forward to hearing what people are saying here.
This is fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, having worked in the past with a lot of international students, I know that inclusion is something that sometimes, being an international student can feel really isolating. So it's really fantastic to have like modules that help to make people feel more confident in being part of the UBC community. So fantastic work. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, if I'm if it's okay to add a couple of things. Yeah, thank you so much. So what we did is not only to provide this kind of explicit instructions, but also we made we made sure that both students and instructors, I mean agents in this learning environment, are they see themselves represented in the module. So for example, if you can go to email section, we made sure that that they are represented there in the sense that they see so-called non-Western, non-white names represented in the text. For example, Professor Ahmed, that's one of the here, just up, yeah, great. Let's say for example Professor Ahmed, and also Eugene Jam presented, so that they can feel that they are included in the community.
Yeah, that's so important. And I think that as we, get better at inclusion, it's always a learning process. It's so important to make sure that when we're building resources for international students, that they see themselves in that. Amazing. Thank you both so much. This is really fantastic, and it's lovely to see all of the work that you've done. All right, let's go. All right, thank you. All right, Angela, can I steal you? Okay, so okay. So I am here with Angela Reynolds, and I'd love to hear more about your project. I can see we've got the word algorithm, bias. Oh gosh, this sounds for me a little stressful, but I'm sure very interesting. Can you please let me know more about this?
Try not to get too stressful for it. It's okay. All right. So basically, I have a question for you. What comes to mind when you think of artificial intelligence? First thing.
Oh, computers, tinfoil hat, maybe a little bit.
Okay. So for many people, I don't know if you can see this. They think of when they think of artificial intelligence is the sort of glamorized Hollywood version, C-3PO, Commander Data, HAL from 2001 Space Odyssey, sentient, self-driven, computers that sometimes go rogue and take over the world. When in fact, what AI actually is pretty boring. It's just math. It's just code, right? And it was first developed by the 10 people that you see. They are the founding fathers of AI. They designed the system and created basically what we know as AI today in 1956. And I'd like to ask you, if you can take a look at this picture, what do you notice about the founding fathers?
It's a lot of men,
Yeah.
a lot of what looks to be white men.
Very much so. Right?
Yep.
Old white dudes.
Yep.
So, problem, and we're going to come back to that.
Fantastic.
Great. So, in the summer, what motivated me to do this presentation is that I used Google's Teachable machine in a final project for another course. And when we were doing our final presentation in front of the professor, it failed. It failed to recognize one of the two partners who had trained it. So a light-skinned, light-haired, light-eyed woman trained the computer to recognize her image. When she swapped out with a partner who had darker skin and darker hair and darker eyes, the computer couldn't register her.
Right. Okay.
Dreadful, right? In front of my professor. So that was embarrassing and, not my fault, but we made those findings. And then we realized that that there were reasons for this that were beyond our control and it wasn't our fault, like I said. So that reminded me of this woman. Her name is Joy Bolamwini, and she did some amazing presentations, talks, papers. Her master's project, she was doing what you can see here on the screen. So she was trying to create a motivational mirror that would detect her face in the morning and maybe superimpose a picture of an inspiring person or a lion over her face. But the computer failed to recognize her face. It didn't even detect that there was a face until tragically she put a white mask on her face and then suddenly the computer saw her. Awful, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that shouldn't happen, and it makes us aware of the weakness of
Yes.
tools that we use, right? In terms of EDIDA, which is equity, diversity, inclusion, decolonization, and anti-racism. So these two videos, the first one is the one that I was referring to, Joy Bolamwini. She did it in 2017. She talked about that experience.
Yeah.
She has a subsequent video that she made called Gender Shades, which I recommend highly. A lot of the information that I'm going to be sharing today, I got from these two plus one other video from Joy. These are Joy's findings from 2018. She discovered that the facial recognition software of including Microsoft most often performed best on males. They performed significantly better on lighter faces than darker faces, and they did not work at all on gender binary people. So this is not ideal.
Not really reflective of society either.
Right? So much. So this was back in 2018. She does talk about how Microsoft in particular has made major improvements since then, which is fantastic. But I would like to ask you, why do you think this could be? do you think facial recognition works better on lighter skinned males than on, for example, dark females?
Well, considering the founding fathers all seem to be old white men, I would imagine that it would have something to do with that. Why would they build facial recognition software?
They're all there is in the world. About data sets, right? Okay. So basically what artificial intelligence is just sets of algorithms, sets of instructions, it's data. And machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. Machines can only learn what they're taught. So I was supposed to say what if? What if the data big problem. So who decides what we consider as normal in technology and society? More white dudes. Is it Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg? Is it Steve Jobs? Is it Jeff Bezos? It's a problem. The big issue here, as you can see again with this group of people, is it dictate what is normal for everybody.
Yeah.
And elves are not sexist or racist. Yeah. Because algorithms just reflect their training, and everyone in the world has unconscious bias. Everyone. This is a more video enjoyable, and it's on Netflix, and I highly recommend it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't even know about it. I watched it on the weekend. So I added a bit of content. So what I want to talk about for bias is that in the global north, AI is mostly developed for commerce applications. Things like ads that you see when you use social media, they're very much targeted, right? Many people know this. So unfortunately, what that means is if you're affluent, if you're probably white, you're going to see ads for things like Club Med and beaches and golf courses and country clubs and things like that. If you are not, if you're in a poor demographic, if you are probably a person of color, you're going to see more predatory industries like payday loans, for-profit colleges, gambling sites, things like that. Things that bias in algorithms can impact are things like sorting your resume, job, filtering college, whether or not qualify for credit or insurance, right? And even one example from this movie is recidivism. It was a woman who computer as a darker skinned woman that she said she had to do once a week, and then she couldn't hold down a job. Thus, the cycle continues. So, we're gonna try using Teachable Machine.
Very exciting. I would love to see how this.
Hope you have to do.
Yeah.
So, basically, anybody can do this. I recommend it for teachers. You can use it in your class. Any age, you basically just go to Teachable Machine with google.com. Version 1. Okay. Simple. Is it a cat or is it a dog?
Is it a cat?
What? I'm going to do it here.
Okay.
I'm going to go around over here, but I can bring the camera closer to you. I have a webcam, so we're going to use
Okay, I see.
train model.
Okay, I can see myself.
All right, so I have on the screen, you can see there is train green, train purple, and train orange.
Okay.
So basically what we do is we're going to teach different things. In this case, as I can see, you would examples there are. Okay, so we're going to hold that in front button and take a few pictures. I've used the mouse here to capture the image of the dog, more of this dog, and a few more of this one. Cute little, and the last. The dog set.
Fantastic.
Is trained. What do you know about my cats? We're All right. So we're gonna just grab a few photos. Sorry, things at the same time. No problem. But I have to make, and I will get there. Okay, you can see I'm training a lot of different kinds of cats. Some of them are thin, athletic. Oh, this little fella is bald. This thing's cat. And holy moly, look at that one. Okay, now that we've trained our and we're going to see whether or not it picks up a cat for a dog.
Oh, okay. So interesting. What is it going to be?
Right. Okay. So if you watch the confidence level,
Ooh.
that's a cat. This is apparently a cat. It's not really. Okay, looks like we have another cat. So on we go. Let's do more cat. You might have some idea how this is going to keep going, right?
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to get a lot of cats.
Very strange. Why do you think that?
We taught the algorithm that cats can look lots of different ways, and we only had 4.
Them? Wow, okay. This can be obviously applied to the real world, right? And it's important for us to understand that algorithms can impact so many things about our lives and that it's really, really crucial. As much as possible, we have diverse in creating the software that rules our lives.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for going through this. So, for me, I'm just so curious how we could use something like this in a classroom setting to teach people about algorithmic bias. How would you see this being applied in that setting?
Well, I think that this, for example, this lesson that I'm doing right now, I did adapt it from an MIT lesson available from the Teachable Machine website. So there are lessons, and they walk through explaining to students how algorithms control so many important things in our lives and how important it is for us to make sure that there is diversity and push for it in the world, right? So obviously, depending on the age of your students, you can introduce this in a softer way, for younger kids, not to scare them too much. But I think it's important that from a young age, every how algorithms. Yep. And
Fantastic. So, where can we find it online if we want to try it out ourselves?
so you can use Teachable Machine. It has a wonderful tutorial that I didn't spend time on today, but it walks you right through how to train it and everything. I just skip. It's at teachablemachine.withgoogle.com, and this is version 1. You can also use it to recognize poses and also sound. So you can use it in so many different ways. You can also export your model and you can save it as a link. You can add it to projects. It's very versatile.
So, also disappointed by algorithms, but hopeful for the future with
So the younger
looking at you, Gen Z. Thank you so much, Angela. Thank you. Okay, so where should I start? Yeah.
We can talk about our puppets and some of the library
All right, should we start puppets? All right, so we're here with Wendy Traas from the UBC Education Library, and we're going to be talking about education puppets and books. I'm very excited. Can you let us know a little bit about this?
Sure. We are here featuring a little campaign that we are running to name the different puppets that we have in our collection. We brought these puppets out as part of our orientation program, and the crowds went wild. So we thought, let's go with this and have some more fun with the puppets. Of course, our table is themed around the idea of story making.
Right.
So we like this idea of like making and writing stories and making stories without a pen and pencil, just with stuff. So people are invited to suggest names for our puppets.
Yes.
And we've also featured a limited selection of the library's resources or books on inclusion and inclusive practices.
Fantastic.
And we've got a couple of fun new books here called Loose Parts. And this is how, that's exactly what they are. They're like small little objects that you can use to create like a diorama story, either in response to a story or as a story prompt. And we've also got some stop motion materials here. You can make stop video and some small parts as well. And also robots for story making. We have it all. We have it all.
The library seems like the place to be. This is fantastic. Okay, all right. So with that, I might wiggle down to have a look at this. So I'm going to also now talk to Emily. All right, let's come down. And so, Emily, I'm Gabrielle, and Wendy very kindly let us know that there's some fun stop motion happening over here. Can you tell us a little bit about this stop motion studio? This is really cool.
Sure. Well, it's kind of, we're doing sort of story making through no or low tech different options. Workshop kit, which uses loose parts and found objects to give students a chance to respond to stories they read together as a class. And if you wanted to add another tech element to that, could have students read their stories also through stop motion, using just a free stop motion app to kind of tell their story that way. And we also have on display if you wanted to use programmable robots to add to your story making. Yeah.
So I can see here that we have quite a lot of stop motion. We have some pieces. Can you sort of go into a bit of detail about like how a student might use this classroom setting?
Sure. So Story Workshop in particular is really used a lot in early learning, so sort of K-3 classrooms. So essentially, if students can't write their stories after reading one, using found parts and loose objects allows them to create a story even before they can actually write it. So instead, they can tell it through found objects and through speaking if you wanted to record it for a video or something like that. Yeah.
And with an app like this, can you download it onto, say, like a smartphone if for somebody who doesn't have a tablet?
Yeah. Motion app we have is just free to download. I believe there's a free version and a paid version if you wanted more storage space, but anyone can download that from the App Store.
And so what you would do, I was just taking photos as a prompt to create a stop motion.
Yeah, you can take short videos or photos and sort of edit them together in the editor. Yeah. So, yeah, the library.
And yeah, I can see also here that there are bots, which I'm very curious about. But I see also that a lot of the found objects here, I would imagine, are used for all of this too. And then for the bots, this is all with maker kits, correct? Yeah, and I'll let Yvonne talk to that because I know that she has a lot of very interesting ways of talking about bots. Lots of fun ways to use them in the classroom.
Like we have them
Like they practice with radio, throwing radio signals, like this firefighter communicate, or they practice, gathering data like water quality data and water quality. So it makes it so and I think the kids she has here today are with that land-based kid and very much like my middle school. I think it might have got oversaturated. You can I mean, I think people wait to forget it, but overall, yeah. And then you've got debugging to do. She wasn't supposed to do that, so now I have to kind of rejig and debug. So you end up with students, just kind of starting fresh sometimes. So where's debugging? So for example, I'm going to the reason it's red, blue, red. So I don't use that if I close this line.
Oh, okay, it's just as simple as that.
Right?
But it's always, the debugging is always hard.
Typically, or the thickness of the line. See, it's doing it again. So what is turnaround, right? So now we're going to U-turn it blue, red, blue. So somehow it's reading blue, red, blue.
But the debugging is different.
Oh yeah, you do that other than reset it. Yeah. But with intermediate, you could get into the online. But I'm still short.
Oh yeah.
Because it is, it's a valuable sensor. A lot of real things work on
Hello, Yvonne. I have. So I'm here with the lovely Yvonne Dawydiak, who is going to, I hope, tell us a little about this Little Red Riding Hood story map and bots. Please, amazing.
So we're just trying to highlight some of the collections, the makerspace collections that the teacher education library has, and some of the work I do with our teacher candidates, including ADST, Applied Design Skills and Technologies, coding, STEM learning, that sort of thing. So with the Ozabots today, we're building this
making story concept and thinking about how programming and coding fits with story and how we can code story and how story is actually code, right?
Fantastic. I'm so curious. So I can see that you have quite a few different bots here, Ozo bots. And then I can see below you have this color code. And I guess this makes the story go in different directions. Is that a correct assumption?
Yes, it does. So the Ozobot uses a little sensor on its base that reads the line color and reads pattern. And so when it hits a certain pattern or hits a line color, it is coded to have a particular reaction, like that one. So this was the pause. So it just paused and said, "Oh no, what big teeth you have." And now it's going to run away quickly. So it's just speeding up and rapidly finding its way home.
That's fantastic. Oh, I love this. This is really, really cool. I can imagine, I mean, you were saying that this would be great for sort of a elementary sort of level thing, but you know.
This kind of story mapping could be, you could build this to different levels. So for example, we have a resource here. Well, we had a resource. Don't go there because I have to put in my password. Don't bother.
No worries.
So we found a resource that actually uncovers traditional folk tales and fairy tales from a more critical perspective and actually annotates the story based on the cultural meanings behind. Like Red Riding Hood, there's some sexual innuendo going on there with the red.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So obviously there is not here in our lovely little Red Riding Hood story map, but one could imagine ways that you could take an activity like this through to different grade levels and think more critically. And I was just talking with 2 teacher candidates who are raising salmon in their classroom on practicum, and they looked at this and said, we could have students build salmon habitats and have the salmon journey from their home stream to the ocean, return to their home stream, and cross many obstacles to find their way home. And I just think that kind of creative thinking is sparked when we learn through story.
Totally. And what I think I really appreciate about this is that there's that interdisciplinary sort of STEM meets storytelling. And I think that that's just so much more powerful than, I mean, at least when I was a student at school and all of those things felt very separate. It's really lovely to have technology integrated.
Yeah, and even the not digital technology integrated, like the story making kit that Emily's put together. Having that kinesthetic approach to storytelling also decolonizes storytelling. Because if we look at a structure like this, very common structure, very useful for students to learn story sequence, but this is a colonial structure. And if we think about kinesthetic storytelling, where we just build and think and create, and then maybe record or not, we're really decolonizing what we're doing with respect to storytelling.
Fantastic. I love this. I mean, I have a million questions, but there are lots of other people here who probably want to ask you things. But thank you so much, Yvonne. Fantastic. Great. Okay. So I'm here with Dr. Kim Zabehazy, Sandra Sikanku, and Maram Alraddadi. There we go. We've got it that way. I can see that we have some very interesting stuff on the table. High and low tech, including students for visual impairments. Please tell me more. I'd love to hear about the project.
We're showcasing an app called Seeing AI, and it's available on Apple App Store. It's designed specifically for individuals with visual impairments and has a variety of functions that it can do. So it can read small amounts of text by just focusing the camera on it. It can read longer documents by doing a picture of it, and then it processes it like OCR kind of. And it could do search for faces, so it can tell you about how far away somebody is. And if you take a picture of them, it gives you a fun little guess at their age and their expression, so you can kind of get a sense of the room if you're blind. There's a currency reader, so you can, different currencies, euro, all sorts of different currencies are available, so you can put it underneath the camera and it'll tell you what the bill is. There's a room, like a environment kind of overview where you can take a picture and kind of tells you what the scene is. And there's a color reader. So you can do colors. So we have different activities that kind of show how this app could be used creatively for inclusion in the classroom in different ways. So like we have a color one here where, you know, in science often, like especially the reactions are sometimes color changes.
Yes.
And that's not very inclusive for someone who's blind.
Yes.
With low vision perhaps, but then blind no. And so this would be a way for them to still feel very part of it. They could also check out what the color is with the app. The currency reader one where you could do math activities where they could use the app to read it. Or an economics class where they need to find certain cans of different foods and things. And so these are just some of the examples that we're showing, but lots of different creative ways you can incorporate it.
Yes, I was going to say, I'm like, we have math, we have art potentially, we have home ec, so many different ways.
Exactly.
So from the instructor's perspective, what would be like a really great like startup activity to getting people interested in using something like this? Or even, I suppose, because I would imagine in the average classroom, there will of course be students who have visual impairments, but a lot of students who don't. How do we get them excited about this as well?
Well, I think the person one is pretty fun. That often draws people in, so kids could take pictures of each other and do different expressions and try to see how accurate it is. It's kind of a way to engage all students. You could even do one like this. Like we wrote this to make it so that all kids can't look, so they all would have to use the app. So it's a scenario where Harry Potter has 3 potions and one slipped in that's not good, and we have to identify which it is. But Malfoy turned off the lights. So you can be creative in those kind of ways so that all kids have to use it, and tech is usually engaging. So they would be interested in doing it. So
I love all of these. Wow, great. And the app itself, is this available on different sort of devices, so like for Apple and Android, or?
Currently it's just Apple. Interestingly enough, it's made by Microsoft, but it's only on Apple.
Of course.
Yes. But there's one that's similar called eVision for Android. Wow. So if you're looking for something on Android similar, eVision is the name of the app.
And I would imagine that this would also be functional on a phone for somebody who maybe doesn't have access to a tablet.
Yep, exactly. And some of it might be even easier on phones. It's easier to kind of get the
I would love that. Yes, if you're happy to, please do. Who's feeling? Okay. So we've got Maram here. Yep.
Yes, this is Maram. So here, like this feature is for the color. It can read for you like what color is that?
Oh,
green. Okay, it can tell you like what's the color that you're showing. This one can tell you the like about the people, what they're wearing, how their face expression. Sometimes it makes even an estimate of the age of the people.
Hey, I mean, go for it. You can let me know how old am I.
Okay, she said you're
21. I'll take it. I will take it. 21. It's the past.
Maybe that's so 20-year-old woman with the brown hair and looking
Neutral. Okay, I was going for bashful, but okay.
I'm not sure it's that intelligent yet.
This is really, really cool. And I would imagine just with the like how noisy it is here, I can't really hear, but I can hear all of it is audio.
Right. Classroom could use earbuds easily and then still have what's going on in class, but have that as well for the extra information. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Are you trialing this at all with any teacher candidates? Are they going out and using it?
Not currently, but that would be awesome. So
I would love to.
Like, these are some ideas you could get to use, and we're just trying to get teacher candidates excited about including kids with disabilities and kids with other abilities in the classroom, and that there's lots of creative, techie ways to do that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love this so much. I have a disability sort of support background, and this just makes my heart so happy. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. This is fantastic. Thank you. All right, let's keep going. All right, coming up on the other end. go to email. We're going to have to go around. Okay. All right, Rebecca, come. All right, you can already see some VR goggles. Very exciting. So the fabulous Catherine Winters from the Emerging Media Lab. I can see over here we have some augmented reality you were saying. Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about what this lovely person is doing? Because I can see there's hand movements and goggles. I still use it because I live in, 1999. Why not? I'm assuming I have a little head. Oh, fun. Oh, this is cool. For people viewing at home and And what I can see is what looks kind of like a screen. I can see some floating tubes of various colors, and I'm pitching to draw lines. Oh, so cool. I love it. All right. This is magic. I mean, it's technology, but it's all right. And so if you would like to know more about the Emerging Media Lab, where can we find you?
You can come to our public demo space in Irving K. Barber Wednesdays and Fridays from 11 to 1. Or if you go to our website, you can request your own visit.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, great. We will. And I'm sure I will. I mean, I will be talking to you soon anyway, but we love the Emerging Media Lab here at ETS. So I'm sure we'll be back soon. Thank you so much. I'm going to take a sticker. All right. Thank you, Catherine. All right. Hello, Mary. Do you mind if I take a moment of your time to talk to you about your project? All right. So, whenever you're ready, Mary, let us.
Yeah, let's go. Oh, okay. So what, I need to clip it on? Oh, it's okay. You can just hold it. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. So do you want me to describe what's here?
Yeah, please do.
Okay. So Pingwa is a not-for-profit organization, and we partner with remote and rural and Indigenous and other communities to share STEAM education and digital skills. Wow. And so we've got a lot of resources. I'm going to get more of these out of the box, but all of these are available. We do a publication biannually that, sorry, I can do this one first since you're at it. That's a program guide.
Okay.
That, because these are all offline, free open and or open source programs, so it's important for us to share those kind of resources when we go to Nunavut because they don't have connection, right? That's the whole point. So Nunavut, Nunavik, Northwest Territories, Yukon, etc. So this is a program guide we can leave behind with teachers. I can hear my microphone playing here. This is like I'm going to move over and maybe they'll stop singing. And then this is, we partnered with a community for pre-employment skills, and so that's like a digital kit. And then this is our publication that we do. I think right now we're doing it biannually, and it includes hard copies of lesson plans. It shares stories from our communities because it's a platform for our communities to amplify their voices. And we have like a theme with each one. So this one is about ocean conservation, and today at 4 o'clock as well, we're going to play downstairs and do some hands-on. So turbidity. I can hear the going that we're going to play with. So I'm just about to hide this one. This is a microbit, and we're playing a game called Animal Telemetry, where you're pretending that this is an animal that has like a collar on, you know, that you can track it.
Wow.
And then these are the trackers, and I think it's still it's either there. And then these are set up to be the trackers, and they can communicate with radio function. So when it's close enough, you can see. You can hear it making further away from the gold one. So these are all seekers. I was just setting them up, and I'm going to hide one of them in my down there, and then we'll also play it at 4 o'clock, and then and people can find it. We also have on the screen. You're out on land kit. The conservation from here, and it was important that we present that viewpoint, and then worked with the community to create some activities that were wrapped in those Inuit IQ principles. Yeah. Playing downstairs, and just excited to meet people and talk to them.
Great. I have so many. I mean, my brain is like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. But one thing that really stuck when you were talking is, you know, if you're working with people from more remote communities, they don't have connections. How are they to incorporate this tech? I'm assuming that a lot of these microbits are not, they don't need to have an internet connection.
Exactly. Yeah. So all of the programs we teach are available offline and for free. And so we in Nunavut actually distribute computers. We're part of the computer distribute computer programs already. We share USB. All the kits come with, it's somewhere there, but it has a USB key that has the activity guide on it. And then all of these programs as well are all available offline. And when we're sending a computer, we onto a browser. As long as the browser isn't closed, it can still be accessible offline. So yeah, that's definitely something we need to do. And then through the Root and STEM, there's hard copies of lesson plans, and that was partly for that reason, you know, that people can't necessarily access those lesson plans or activity sheets or whatever. So that's a big focus as well when we do the lesson plans.
This is fantastic. I know that's something that we are thinking about more and more, especially since everything has gone online. Since COVID, and there's this bias that we have that everyone has internet, everyone has Wi-Fi, people have, data on their phones, and the reality is that's not the case for everyone.
Yeah, like in Nunavut, you can't even get, there's nothing for your cell phone. There wasn't when I was there before COVID. Like you land and no cell phone at all. No Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi was at the hotel and the school a little bit, but otherwise there was no connection. It was the weirdest feeling to land and just look at your phone and be like, oh, it doesn't work. That's right. Yeah, there's nothing. So it is a reality.
Yeah. So like that there's still all of the tech.
Yes.
Yes. Like regions
Yeah.
and different peoples,
Yeah.
especially if we're thinking about decolonizing.
Yes. Yes.
Want to
right. Exactly.
To adapt these.
Yeah, the different cultures and things. Yeah, like the Stowen kid. Did we already talk about that one that she was with? No. Okay. So this is called this kit.
Beautiful. Oh wow.
And it's to learn about the basics of circuits and electronics using e-textiles and beading. So where did our little light go? This one. I wonder if there's been a circuit cross that it's short-circuited. But it does light up. But this is conductive thread. Conductive thread.
Okay.
And you connect these little LEDs. You have to be careful to do positive and negative terminals. With the positive and negative.
Yeah.
There's a little battery holder. And then this activity is about telling a star story. So it was lighting up. I'm not sure what happened here. I think a circuit's been crossed, but there was a little light showing here. And there's about 7 activities, I think, in this activity guide. And there's like choices of projects for the reading project or the sewing project where you can do like a star story. That's what this one is. And the inspiration for this came when I was in the school in Kenya-Sulu-Juak before COVID. And many of the girls chose to go to the park and making workshop, which was always available. Instead of coming to our special workshops, which is fine. They obviously found that more relevant in their lives. But it made me think, is there something we can create with a community that offers that opportunity, that sparkle of, can I see myself in tech?
Yeah.
Is there room for me and the skills that I bring? And so that's what this was, the impetus. Yeah. And the Learn on the Land kit, which is the one with the environment. A little baggy there a minute ago, but anyway, oh, here it is right there, the booklet. So this kit was actually our first kit, and it was a response to COVID. We can't go. Okay. We can't. They're not connected. Yeah. But then we thought we could send packages. Yeah. Right. So we sent packages of the little environment, and we made we don't have a ton of these printed because it's so long, because it's step by step with all the block coding, so that a student on their own could access it and follow it. And we got a ton of good feedback. That's great. Which was great. Yeah. One family said, the mom said, it's great. We're having trouble keeping dad away from it.
But that's great too.
Yeah, it's
everyone wants
family.
to be involved.
Yeah.
Getting parents involved.
Yeah, like you can turn it into a compass. It's so cool what you can do. And it's user friendly and fairly evergreen, because I don't want to contribute to e-waste, right? But there's so many things you can do with the microbit that there's kind of like endless opportunity for people to invent around or just continue to discover and explore.
Yeah, this is wonderful. Thank you so much, Mary, for talking to us about this.
Yeah.
And it's so great to see all the different applications of something.
A lot of people know about Scratch and Twine, right? The programs that you can create interactive story games. Not a lot of people know that those can be not coded, but the actual story can be created in any language with any writing system. Wow. So communities can make resources in their own languages with each other, for each other, using either Scratch. And so we have an Inuktitut.
Oh, fantastic.
Create a couple of games in collaboration with Nunavut Literacy about teaching Inuktitut through those games, and then created a teacher's guide to help teachers understand how to use Scratch to make their own, and also how to revise those games if they wanted to change them. But it would be applicable to any language.
Yeah, and I would
it's
imagine
the same
different
process.
writing systems.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. As long as you have the keyboard, you can do anything. And same thing with Twine. So.
That's fantastic and so important. I think what you're telling me about this, I'm amazed, because so much of everything we do is in English by default. And we assume people speak English, and we assume that people want to use English as their primary mode of communication. And it's great that it's not. That we have option flexibility for things not to be in English.
Exactly. Yeah. And Scratch itself, you can actually code in a number of different languages, and they're actually working on a translation of Inuktitut now. We're part of that work now. So you can actually code, not just making your story, but you can actually code in Inuktitut. Which is pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah, someday, soon. Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. I hope so.
Yeah. So again, feel free to help yourself to any. I'm going to restock down there, but any of the piles of things.
I'll probably come back and take a few
come and
things.
play.
This is
And also come and play.
Thank you so much, Mary, for your time. This is great. Thank you. Okay, let's keep going. We have a few more tables left. Okay, so we're about to come and talk to Joyce Lowe about augmentative and alternative communication. So let her finish chatting for a second, and then we'll get started. Thanks, Kelvin. Hi, Joyce. How are you? So here we're talking about Panda AAC Camp. AAC, for those who aren't in the know, is augmentative and alternative communication. And I'm going to let Joyce and maybe Joe as well, come and let us know a little bit about their project. And I'm lucky enough actually to have watched some of this camp as an observer, and it was fantastic. I loved it. So please let us know more.
Maybe we short video of camp, which we'll show on the screen here. It's half a minute or so.
Great.
It's camp 3 months ago at UBC called Panda AAC Camp. Thanks. Yeah, so that's a short video of our camp. What we're here to try to promote really is and how to incorporate them into the home, into the and into community. I'll show you a few apps. So this one's called Touch. Know how to, whereas this one,
This is called LAMP for language acquisition through motor planning, and basically you can get to any word on by 3 taps.
Yeah. Okay, that's really fast, especially for a communication board when you maybe have limited space. Wow.
We really like this one because it's really it's like a QWERTY keyboard. All the words are always in the same location. It doesn't change. So planning.
We're speaking with here, which is coming up. So we're fortunate partner with UBC Faculty Ed. We're running a similar camp here this summer. And one of the things I want to share is that, what's the best tool, what's the best device, language? My person the best piano. Know how to use it. Building courage here. The student school use the if not that's what time teacher.
But part of it, absolutely, it's that triangle, right? We've got the parents, we've got the teachers.
Yeah, that's the part where we want the parents to take that responsibility, that they are in fact the primary teacher in a child's life. When the child goes to sleep, who's the last person they see when it goes? It's a parent or caregiver.
Yeah.
When they wake up, caregiver. So we shared that, and you see the parents really kind of step up their game, if I'm able to say that, in terms of using the device. The chances of the child using that device is really low. This is where we're to, share art. And thank you for you guys.
Thank you.
You want to add or?
No, I totally agree how parents are on board too, but it's not easy because we're parents ourselves, and then it's a learning journey. Like like you can't just say, oh, like I'm gonna pick this up and learn it right away, and then it takes a while. And then we learn the child together.
The last thing about the camp involving the parents, which is so critical in the child's life. It's also about sharing that knowledge between therapists teacher candidates. So at camp this summer, we had SLPs, speech language pathologists, OT, occupational therapists, PTs, behavioral consultants, but the class teacher and with the EAs. So because most of the time the child will be seeing the classroom teacher and EA, and not the therapist. Therapists might see them half an hour a week. Trying to more inclusive environment so that the teachers, EAs, the students, and the school can build an inclusive community environment. Yeah.
This is fantastic. Very, very interested in AA. A little bit of work recently. Confident to communicate who use AAC too. So I think this is fantastic. Teacher candidates about using a little more in classroom settings.
Yes. And through events like this, last week we TW. Yes, the week we were here at UBC is promote awareness and interest, because at the end of the day, we want more educators to be involved, along with the therapists and along with the families too. It needs to be an inclusive environment, because if the child's the only one using device at home, at school, and the chances are they won't want to use that device. They need somebody around them, whether it's a sibling, a friend, a parent, a teacher, like just playing with them. And you know what? I still sometimes, I got big fingers and I still mess it. It's okay. The important thing is to try. You mentioned a beautiful word, confidence.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So confidence and competence go hand in hand. As you do more practice, you become more competent, you become more confident. And it's just kind of, building momentum. That's what we want to be part of the movement here.
Also, pursuing confidence is very important. Say, not talk, then therefore they cannot communicate.
Not
right?
true.
But, so I think, yeah, this is a very important piece for, especially for children who are nonverbal, minimally verbal.
So one more thing I'll add is that we've looked at some research on what AAC users want people to know and what and everyone else. They may not be able to communicate verbally like other people. Use things like this or PEX cards or sign does not mean they understand. So one of the things that's really they don't like is people coming up to you and saying, "What is your name?" They can hear perfectly fine, most of them. So just treat them normal, speak normal, and they will use these devices and keep back to you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Happens in so many ways, you know. I mean, we put so much emphasis on how important the speech is, but we're constantly communicating with gestures, expressions, with so many other ways. You know, non-verbal. Right? Or be so crucial. I love this thing. And thank you. No, thank you. This is fantastic.
Search us up, Panda AC Camp. You'll find us and our website's on there. I mean, we have brochures here, but for people online, just look us up, Panda AC Camp UBC, and we're on there. Contact information. So we welcome interest or questions. We love to build a bigger camp, scale it up, and just promote that awareness, inclusive awareness out there.
Fantastic.
Thanks, guys.
I will probably come back to talk to you later. So interested in your work. Thank you. Here. All right. I think we might have one person left. So let's go. A couple more people. Keri.
Hello.
I'm well. How are you? Can I steal you for a moment? Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you. Bring it to the beginning. Just the title.
Thank you, Keri. So with Keri Ewart, and we're having a look. I can see Flip. I can see Edpuzzle. I can see an accessibilizing videos. This is speaking a language. I'm very excited. Please tell me more.
Well, we so often we looked at, and a lot of people would have familiarity with Bill Nye the Science Guy. And I'll turn that down. Those who are educated in Canada, télé français. And so often you just watch the video and that would be it. It would be engaging. We'd be excited to have it wheeled out on the cart. But we need to look at how to adapt and be accessible to all of our students. So through closed captioning, speech to text, a number of different ways. So very often TikTok is a huge, especially for students.
Oh yeah.
A love. And so we look at how to use TikTok accessibly in the classroom. And I still have this up. We'll take the sound off there. So how to make it accessible in the classroom, how to use it in different capacities. And so this is basically what this entire presentation was about, is different apps like Flip and Edpuzzle, YouTube, and such, and how to accessorize and accessibilize it in the classroom for students.
Yeah. I mean, I know I love talking captions and transcripts and all of that good stuff. For somebody who's maybe new to the concept of, online accessibility, what do you think is a really good place to start?
Well, they have in this presentation, actually, you can just see these are different types of video accessibilities. So where you would start is just looking at the settings features for any of your apps, any of the pieces that you need. And a lot of them include a section for closed captioning. That means where you have the subtitles up at the bottom, you can change it to different languages. You can have the transcript of the entire video on. You can have it described in video, like for visually impaired. And so to start this, I would just go to the settings, go into accessibility, and then click on all of those pieces. And then all of a sudden it's accessible.
I love that. I love that, especially if I think about YouTube, has come such a long way in terms of having that closed caption function, which admittedly is not perfect. But it's there. There are captions on every video now, I think. And that's really such a huge step forward because we rely on videos so much in the classroom now.
We do, and it's what's engaging to students. And, research shows us that 65% of students are learning mostly from videos and under 2-minute videos. So why aren't we now embedding them into the classroom and accessible and differentiated for everyone? Totally.
Yeah, so great. Thank you so much for sharing this. I love it. I will definitely be back to talk more. Thank you, Keri. Hey, we're going to move back down. That's okay. Hi, Loveleen. I'm well. How are you? Good. Okay. And here we are talking about integrating Indigenous pedagogies into online design. This sounds interesting. Perfect.
Is we are creating a web resource for the educators, for the course designers, how they can integrate indigenous pedagogies into their online learning environment. So this resource is based on a 5R model, which was being proposed by Dr. Restule. And this model talks about there are basically 5 R's: the reciprocity, the relationship, the events, respect, responsibility. So when a will be in the ETS UBC website. Clicks on this, they will be able to access these 5 R's. So each R will basically it will give the guiding questions to the educators how they can use that R, how they can keep that R into their consideration when they are designing a course, online course for the learner. So yeah, each are one. Suppose let's talk about relationship. So when an educator is designing a course, he or she can think of those guiding questions which will be provided in this resource, like how they can build a relationship with their students, and how a student can build a relationship with its own self, with the community, with the land. And this resource will also provide some digital tools. They will like we are recommending some digital tools which will help them to have that element in there, which will help to integrate that element in the course design.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. So if we're thinking about, what's available online, so if, say, for example, I'm an instructor, I'm looking to, be a little bit more thoughtful about integrating Indigenous pedagogies into my work, but I don't really know where to start, would this be my starting point?
Yes, definitely, because this resource will be available online, and it's a public resource, so anyone can access it through ETS website. So it's just a one-click away. So yes, and then it provides a framework. So this framework can be used irrespective of whatever course you are teaching. So it's not restricted to a subject, to a particular group of learners. So it's like for everyone and anyone.
Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I think, as we are moving into thinking more about indigenizing the curriculum, decolonizing the curriculum. It's so important for people to feel like they're in a position to actually integrate those pedagogies and be part of unlearning colonial sort of ideas about learning and teaching. So this is fantastic. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Loveleen. Okay. And I think that will be it. So thank you everyone who has been joining us in this live stream of TEC Expo 2022. I hope you enjoyed hearing from all of our fantastic presenters today. And thank you, and hopefully see you next year.